Okay, let's dive straight into this explainer. Look, if you're a student right now, balancing your coursework, trying to build some sort of future, and hustling on the side just to pay your bills, I want you to take a deep breath and listen really closely. Today, we're walking through what I like to call a cautionary success story. It's based on a very specific, highly effective framework, the Un-Glamorous $10,000 blueprint. As a business mentor, I see so many incredibly bright, hardworking students just driving themselves completely into the ground. Why? Because they're chasing the aesthetic of success rather than the reality of it. So over the next few minutes, we're going to strip away all those social media filters and show you the quiet, unglamorous path to real, unshakable financial stability.
So I have to ask, why are you working so hard but still broke? I genuinely want you to sit with that question for a second. It is incredibly frustrating, and your frustration is totally valid. You are likely putting endless hours into a popular side hustle. Maybe you're custom painting sneakers, running one of those niche aesthetic dropshipping stores, or handcrafting jewelry in your dorm. And your peers? They think it's incredibly cool. Your followers are hitting the like button, and you're frantically shipping out orders between your midterms. But when you check your bank account at the end of the month, the balance is practically stagnant. It feels completely disproportionate, doesn't it? Your effort is at a 10, but the actual financial reward is barely a 2. Let me be clear. You are not doing anything wrong in terms of your work ethic. Your work ethic is fantastic. The problem you have is entirely with your business model.
Section 1. The Side Hustle Trap. Let's do a quick reality check.
Society tells you one thing about side hustles, but reality proves something completely different. On the left side here, we have glamorous hustles. These have super high visibility, they look absolutely amazing on your feed, and they're highly passion-driven. But look at the second half of that equation. Low true profit. Now, over on the right, we have unglamorous hustles. These have incredibly low visibility. I mean, no one is making a viral montage about bookkeeping for local plumbers, right? Or pressure washing driveways, or doing residential window cleaning. It's just not sexy. But it yields high true profit. The trap here is believing that just because a hustle is popular or highly visible, it must be lucrative. In reality, the industries with the lowest barriers to entry and the highest cool factor are intensely saturated. That means you are constantly competing on price, which absolutely destroys your actual wealth-building potential.
Section 2. The glamorous illusion. It's time to deconstruct the math. Let's do some simple but pretty eye-opening math together. $1,000. Let's say your glamorous side hustle just had a phenomenal week and you generated $1,000 in gross revenue. On paper, you probably feel like a total mogul. You sold a huge batch of your custom-crafted products, your phone notifications were lighting up with sales, and you're thinking, okay, I've made it. This is exactly the momentum I need. But here's the tough love. This number is an illusion. It is a vanity metric that platforms desperately want you to focus on because it keeps you engaged. But as a seasoned mentor, I honestly do not care about your gross revenue. I only care about what actually lands in your pocket. Let's calmly deconstruct where that $1,000 actually goes. It's kind of like a leaky bucket. Right off the top, 20% is instantly swallowed by platform fees, listing fees, and payment processing. Boom, now you're at $800. Next, you have to pay for your raw materials, your cute packaging, and your shipping supplies. That's another 30% gone. Now you're down to just $500. Then comes the real silent killer. 40% goes to hidden time costs. Think about the hours you spent messaging buyers, fixing broken links, standing in line at the post office. Plus, setting aside money for self-employment taxes. After all of that, it leaves you with that tiny green sliver, just 10% real profit.
The cruel reality here is that your 10% profit margin is exactly what's keeping you broke. Out of that glamorous $1,000, you are walking away with maybe $100 of real, usable wealth. To put that into perspective, if it took you 40 hours of total labor to generate that $1,000 in sales, congratulations, your real profit is $2.50 an hour. This is the exact reason you aren't gaining any financial ground. You're basically running on a treadmill. You are essentially volunteering your time for an algorithm and calling it a business.
Section 3. The Unglamorous Blueprint. Let's talk about reliable cash flow. Okay, here is your new definition of a side hustle. The Unglamorous Blueprint is a strategy that prioritizes high-margin, reliable cash flow way over social media clout or personal passion. Now, I know telling a student to put their passion project on the back burner sounds a little harsh, but remember, we're talking about achieving real financial stability here, so you don't have to stress about making rent while you're trying to study. This requires a massive mindset shift. You literally have to decouple your ego from your income. A business doesn't need to define your personality, right? It just needs to fund your life. So let's lay out the clear, actionable steps you must take to transition out of this trap. Step 1. Calculate your real profit margins. Seriously, go look at your books from last month. If your margin is sitting at 10 or 20%, that's a massive red flag. Step 2. Drop the low-yield, favorite hustle. I know, this is the hardest part, but you have to be willing to walk away from the flashy thing that simply isn't paying you. And step 3. Adopt a high-margin, unglamorous service. Usually this means offering a B2B or business-to-business service. Look, local businesses do not care about your TikTok aesthetics. They care if you can clean their carpets, manage their basic data entry, or paint their curbs. These are services where your materials cost almost nothing, and your time yields an incredible 80 to 90% profit margin.
Which brings us to the ultimate goal, $10,000 in the bank. When your profit margin is 80% instead of 10%, saving $10,000 goes from being this multi-year burnout-inducing pipe dream to a highly attainable reality, something you can literally reach in a single semester. Think about it like this. If you do an unglamorous service that charges $200 and you keep 180 of it, you only need to do that gig about 55 times to hit $10,000. That is just one weekend job per week for a year. No algorithms to please, no massive inventory to store, no glamorous illusions, just straightforward, highly efficient wealth accumulation.
So, we return to the core quote from our source material, really the mantra of this entire explainer, why your favorite side hustle is keeping you broke. It's definitely a cautionary tale, but it's also your map out of the maze. Your favorite side hustle is likely bleeding your time and resources entirely for the sake of visibility. It is time to stop working for the vanity metric and start working for the margin. Let the hobby just be a hobby, but let your business actually be a business.
Which leaves us with one final thought. Are you ready to trade the glamour for actual, rock-solid financial stability? Are you ready to be the student who maybe doesn't have the most viral side hustle on campus, but who actually graduates with zero debt and $10,000 of liquid cash sitting in the bank? It requires checking your ego at the door, doing the quiet work, and prioritizing true profit over public praise. So take a hard look at your margins today and ask yourself, what unglamorous pivot can you make by tomorrow?